Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Five Door Media Podcast. I am your host, Drew Larison, and today we are diving deep into the story of one of the most influential voices in the home service industry. Our guest is Ricky Regalado, the founder and CEO of Rozalado Services and the driving force behind Route, a software platform built for cleaning companies by cleaning owners. Ricky's journey is the blueprint for grit, innovation, and vision and action. What started as a small janitorial operation has grown into a multi-million dollar enterprise, and along the way, Ricky has become a loud and respected voice for the blue-collar entrepreneurs, especially those in the Latino business community. Today, we'll talk about early hustles, the sacrifices, the pivots, and the systems Ricky built to scale not just one business, but an entire ecosystem. Whether you're a service business owner trying to grow or a founder thinking about how to produce your experience, this conversation is packed with gold. Ricky, welcome to the show.
Man, that might be the best introduction I've ever had.
You know,
Whew,
I
let's
don't want to
go. Let's
brag.
go.
I
That
do
was like
get told I write some good intros. I'm not going to lie.
that
I
was,
do get told that. You could be
I mean,
fired up.
you said I'm loud now. Now I got to be loud. Let's go.
That's true. Yeah, yeah. Not bad for I mean, we're recording this on a Monday. I mean, you should have
I
the best
know.
week of
You're
your
let's
life
go.
now. Do you want me to call you actually
Let's
like
go
9 a.m. every day this week and just say that again? Like
every
just
day.
prompt you up about
Yes.
that. Hey man, thanks so much for being on this episode. We do these every now and then. Our podcast is usually a seasonal based podcast where we talk about a topic, but we like to do these one-offs and just kind of dive into the story of the entrepreneurs that we've connected with through Five Door Media. And I know I was recently on an episode of the Cleaning and Cocktails podcast up in Chicago, and I left. I'm like, man, I gotta have him on mine too. We gotta swap episodes. So that's what we're doing today. So it's exciting to have this conversation with you. And we're just gonna dive into. I want to know more about Ricky. You know what I mean? I think a lot of people know about cleaning and cocktails. I think more people know about Route and what you're doing over there. We're like, I want to know Ricky. I want to know your story. So that's why this entrepreneurial storytelling episode is happening today.
All right, man. Let's
Awesome.
get into it.
Well, let's get back to what I'm going to refer to as roots of the hustle. Let's take it back. Let's take it back to when you were a kid. What was Ricky like as a kid? Were there early signs that maybe you were going to get into this entrepreneurial world, or what were you like as a kid running around?
No, man. You know what? That's a great question because I could immediately go to ideas of like entrepreneurship or selling or thinking of business, but I really wasn't. I was a sports junkie. I I thought for sure I was going to the NBA, so I would play. I played basketball so much, played football too, but it was about sports for me at a young age. So through high school, I really thought like I had a shot. I mean, not that that's everybody has a shot, but I really thought I had something, right? And I was just in love with sports. Basketball was everything for me. Friends were a lot too, though. So something that many people don't know is I went to, and we joke about this with the family and some of my friends. I went to, I think 11 schools from
Wow.
like kindergarten to in high school. Like went to a kindergarten school, then I went to grammar school, then I went to another elementary school, then another junior high, went to a Catholic high school for freshman year, moved to Florida because my mom picked up a job, came back as a junior. Like, dude, so I
Wow.
learned the hustle of networking very early on by going to so many schools. You're the new kid, right? You're at the lunch table by yourself, and I had to learn how to make friends. But I did that through sports a lot.
I love that. Very cool. What do you think sports has taught you? Which I love this because my 9, almost 10-year-old also has NBA dreams right now. Like he picked up a basketball recently for the first time and like thinks he's a star. He's also working through this. He's like playing NBA 2K and like thinks that if he's good at the video game, there is an equal amount of quality
Yeah.
to his game in real life. So I'm going through this, but like, what do you think sports taught you playing in sports growing up? Were you in like a lot of organized
Yeah.
sports or was it like backyard stuff? What do you think it taught you to like help you where you're at now?
Dude, so many ups and downs. Like, so humility for sure was one, but also just being a team player, right? So I like how you said like in the playground. So in the streets or in the playground or in the park, I was fast in football. I was probably the best basketball player. And then I started playing organized and travel. Stepped out. There's some really good kids, and I was on the bench. And then I moved schools, and I was a star in that school. But then when I moved to another school, back on the bench, right? So like it was this up and down, and I was angry on a few occasions, but I really learned how to be positive, today, right? And with creative cocktails, with the community stuff that I do, I'm all about being positive and like, dude, just be a good person. A lot of that came from sports at a young age because, dude, you get humbled real quick when you are not a starter, when you are not the star of the team, when you're just a role player. And you could either take it like, well, no, that's not fair. He's the coach's son, or he got this much more playing time, or like, the kids that bitch about it. So that's what I'm teaching my son is, dude, deal with it, own it, get better, and just practice, right? So
Yeah.
it really, man, it was an up and down, very humbling situation to go from like in the street on the park to organized, structured travel team.
Yeah, and I mean, and you were a kid too, so there's all
Yeah,
the elements there of just emotional maturity and things like that, and I'm guessing it was a pretty big eye-opening moment when you saw like, "Oh, wait, there are kids better than what's playing at the playground," right? But I mean, also, I think what you were talking about too is just the idea of, and this is such a good life lesson, the earlier you learn it, the better. Knowing to control what you can control and then let everything else go, right? I mean, you when you joined that travel team as a kid, you can only control what you can control. You weren't
yeah,
the coach, all that kind of stuff. I think there's a lot of lessons that intertwine, sports activities to real life
yeah.
situations and even more so
Uh,
just in business.
And you know what? I just thought of that. I've never thought about this, but if you think about it, like because I'm trying to remember how I always got to start and get up in the starting lineup was I started to figure out what am I really good at that none of the others wanted to be good at or care about. In basketball was defense. I was like, dude, nobody's playing that great of defense. Maybe I could be the guy that D's up the other best player.
Yeah,
That was my way in. And I figured out how to just do the like unsexy stuff sometimes. And it's funny because if you carry this over to like owning a cleaning company, talk about the non-sexiest thing out there.
sure.
But be great at it, and you'll get at some point it leads to recognition. Everybody loves to be recognized in some form or manner, and I learned that early on in those years, where and there was always this weekly and monthly newspaper in our area that would highlight like who got the most steals, the most points, the most rebounds, and to see your name sometimes was like, damn, that's the
Let's
result
go.
of kicking ass, my hard work.
Love
Yeah.
that. I literally just talked about that the other day. Our paper growing up had something similar, and like I was in little league, and I was chose to be like player of the week or something like that. And like, I mean, I just turned 36, and I can see the photo of me in the paper. Like that was a memory, right? Silly, but it's true. Okay, interesting. So, did you grow up around entrepreneurial people? Is your anybody your family entrepreneurial? Or were you kind of like blazing this new trail for your family? But even if, well, answer that question first, and I've got a follow up.
No, yeah, man, I've been asked that before too, and yeah, no, nobody had. We were. I'm the first person that went to college in our like immediate family here in the Chicago area. Even our family in New Mexico, but was the first to go to college, and then the first to start a business. But again, I started with my cousin and my wife. So, but no, man, what I did learn, and I say this all the time, is I learned what great hard work, every blue collar
Yeah.
story, right, starts with dad or mom or somebody work. My dad would work double shifts. I rarely saw my dad until the weekends. And my mom was a hustler. She was a woman in a man's manufacturing industry. So them two working, I had to sign up to sports on my own. I had to sign up to travel
Mm,
league on my own. They couldn't do it because they were busy working. So I learned that. And then I watched my aunt and uncle because we lived, nobody told me this, that, 10 family members in a three-bedroom house is not common. I thought it was normal. I was like, yeah, cool. I got all my cousins and,
yeah.
so I saw work constantly happening, but then I would see fun on the weekends. So like that was my perception of you work hard and you have some fun. But yeah, nobody ever took the risk of starting something. So that was very very new to me and the family.
Yeah, so my follow-up was gonna be, how did that shape, or help shape, like, who you are today, which you kinda mentioned that, but so even more so, when you maybe started going down this entrepreneurial route, it sounds like your parents were, like, extremely hard people or hardworking people, which they still are. I know, like, your family works for you now and works with you. What was their response to this? Because they probably had a mindset of you work as hard as you possibly can, you work your way up a ladder, you do everything you can to work for a business, you're loyal to businesses, it sounds like that was
Right.
their mindset. What was their response when you're
Yeah.
like, "Yeah, but what if we own the business?" Ever thought about that? Like,
Oh
what
man.
what could that look like?
Yeah. So my mom was an advocate for me, but she was so busy in her career at the time, right? In the early years of us launching the company, she was busy. She was occupied. She was a supporter though. Like, hey, I'm with you. If you want to do it, I can help with in any capacity I can. When I have off hours, she was
Yeah.
right there. But my dad for sure was like, Hijo, ¿por qué? Why? Why are you gonna do this? Like, get a check every
Yeah.
week. Make money. Don't do this. So
Yeah.
I'm so scared. And then, but he worked for me, right? So he was excited because this was a great opportunity for me and him to have some fun and work. But it was tough, man. Like he was like, this isn't gonna last. Just because he's like, he was scared. He was scared for us. So he was like, I'll do it and I'll help you now. But whenever you're ready, I can go find another job and you can go on with your life. Like year two, year three, now we got an office. Now we're getting trucks. He's like, oh man.
Yeah.
He's like, you're buying a lot of things. You're paying for a lot of people. Who's that? Who's that person? Why? What does she do? What's her pay rate? I'm like, don't worry about it. Just
Yeah.
you focus on what you have to do. He was nervous, nervous. My mom eventually came on board and she was like, you know what? I'm going to take a pay cut because I see something and I want to take a risk with you, son. So he came on
So
board. But my
so
dad
tell
was on
me,
very early on.
was there a moment where they realized, like, "Oh my gosh, he's doing it. Like, this was a good idea. This was a good risk to take." Do you remember, like, as their son, I imagine that is probably, if there was that moment, that's probably one of the best moments of your life to, like, see your parents look at you and the risk and liability you took on that maybe they questioned at first,
Oh
maybe
yeah.
not being the best idea. Do you have that memory where they were like,
Oh,
"I'm proud of
you
you.
know,
Like, you did this."
vividly. So I'll take you to the early years. The first few years, we're living in an apartment, and my mom and dad move in with us. And then my brother moves in because he's like in college. So I'm back
Yeah.
to like that 10 people,
Yeah.
10 people in a two-bedroom house. And like I'm 31, I'm 30 years old. My girlfriend, she's my girlfriend at the time. She's like 28. And we move in together and we're trying to do this thing. And now my mom lives there, my dad. And something that not many people know is at that moment in the first couple of years, my dad and my mom got a divorce, but they were still amicable living with each other. And then my mom moved out. She moved away. And I was upset. I wasn't happy with the whole situation. So like I ignored and didn't really support the decision because then I just focused in on work. And then year three, year four come in. My mom's, like Rick, I'm here for you still, though, right? Like I want to be a part of what you guys are building. So that's when she came back from. She was in Florida, and that was when I really knew and that she was really. This was a big risk for her. My father's all in. He's getting happier. I helped him get an apartment. He was living
Mm.
on his own for the first time in a very long time. So I'm trying to take care of him. I know my mom's trying to move on. And we got this business with my girlfriend. She's my girlfriend. She's not my wife yet. So it's like she's taking a risk on me too. Tony's taking a risk. So everybody's risk taking. But I remember like year three, year four, that's 15, 16, 2000. Everybody was bought in, and it felt like I had some weight off my shoulder because we got our first office. We're buying vans. We've surpassed the $1 million mark. We're hitting 2 million. We got this. We got our train moving, and everybody's jumping on the
Yeah.
train. So it felt good to know people were willing to take that risk, even all the turmoil that's happening. My wife, her parents were divorced. They both jumped in.
Mm.
So I was like, hey, we got something here. I think I
Yeah.
talked about it huge. I was like, I got some kind of culture if I had
Like,
all these people.
divorced people are intentionally wanting to work together. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a good sign of a culture right there, yeah. I love that. Very cool. Yeah, I mean, I have a vivid memory. I love asking that question because I think it's a cool thing to look back on. I think when we get things going and we grow things, we forget kind of like those fun moments that happened when we started and like really forget like the vivid memories as you called it of just some of the best moments that happened early. So I love asking that question. So you were really into sports, but were there any like Kid Ricky, what was your first hustle? Do you remember? I mean, did you mow lawns,
So
flipping
no,
candy?
so
What was your
nope,
first hustle?
no, no kid hustle. You can't call a 19-year-old a kid anymore. But
Yeah.
19 years old, that was the first time where, because I mean, I did regular, I worked at like a lot of retail stores, 17, 18, right, to get through, like years
Mhm.
of high school into early college. When it was at 19, there were, I don't know what I saw an ad in the paper and it said just, fast money, right? I was all about fast money. And it said,
Yeah.
like, it said something about cologne sales. And I was like, all right, I wear cologne. I know what a good smelling cologne is. So I go to this conference center. I know now it's like, now I know it's like multi marketing system scams or whatever it is they just bring you in,
Yeah.
sell you the dream and you go sell. Well, they told me I could open up a on the go mobile cologne selling company. So I buy into it. I spend a couple $1,000. I get a backpack and a box full of cologne. And I look and I'm like, wait a minute. These don't look like the colognes that, this is not Isimiaki. This is not John Paul Gaultier. These all look like the same bottle. I was like, what is going on here? They're like, all right, so this is what you do. You go to the gas stations, you jump out of your car, and as they're pulling into the pull gas in, talk to them right there, or you go to the
Oh
retail
my
stores,
gosh.
you go to the parking lot. So they do like cold call, door to door sales with outdoors though. These are
Yeah.
people at gas stations. I learned what no was right away, but you know what I did learn? I only did it for 6 months and I was like, that's it, I'm done. But I learned how to be uncomfortable
Mm.
and find a way to be relevant. So I started to like, all right, 5 door. He's got something blue shirt on. He's got a fade on. He probably goes to a barber shop. I'm going to talk about our haircuts. So I learned how to assess the
Yeah.
situation because of that job to this day.
I love that. I did the classic, like, Cutco knife sales, like, when I was younger,
Oh
and,
God.
like, same thing,
Yeah.
right? Like, that taught me 2 main things, I think that taught me. 1, it taught me how to hear no, like you said, right? And, like, ooh, little thumbs up. Taught me how to say no and how to take a no. But then second it taught me how to be comfortable around conversations involving money. Like, and that is such a skill I think a lot of people don't have is like they hear a conversation about money and they get awkward. They're like they don't want to ask about it. They don't want to talk about it. They were raised as like you don't talk about politics, religion, and money at the table, right? So like it's one of those like topics that you stay away from. That helped me be more comfortable. Talking about money. So I love that too. Hey, if there is one word, if I hear your name and I can correlate a word or an idea with your name, family is definitely one of those words. I think you are focused so much on being a dad, a good husband, a your family or your business is so focused around the idea of family as well. What does that mean to you? And like what does family mean to you? And I know I've heard you talk about generational change as well and like
Yeah.
what your goal is to where when your great 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 grandfather Ricky, long gone, but you want this like memory of you, this idea of who you were and what you did for your family. What does that mean for you?
Oh man, that's a good question. Tough love is a part of family. And I think in business, you got to have tough love sometimes. So we've started to turn the corner on not just being known as a family business, but a business that thrives on high performers that their goals end up affecting their family at home. So we could still intertwine family, but be thinking of the bigger picture with that. But I also say like resilience and builders. Like I want to be known as a builder. Like people say the word entrepreneur. I actually love the word builder better because to me, an entrepreneur is maybe a one off or a single business.
Mhm.
Me, builder is what I'm doing. I'm building businesses. I'm building an empire. I'm building families. I'm building people. I'm building culture. I'm building a brand. Build, build, build is what I want to be known for, and resilience. Because man, it's been up and down, and I take it on. I love the challenge, to be honest.
I mean, what it sounds like is what you're really building is a legacy, you know? So, I
Yeah.
mean, let's say we are 100 years down the road and a new employee is starting at Route, so let's speak, right? And they want to talk about the founder to that new employee. What sort of legacy do you want them to mention? It's cheesy, but I am a big like Disney guy. I love you talk about being a builder and like risker and an entrepreneur. Walt Disney was a lot of that, right? Like he was the crazy guy with like a cartoon mouse, and look what he turned it
Yeah.
into, right? And when you get a job at Disney now, they're still talking about Walt so much in that orientation because of that legacy that he's built. What do you want to be mentioned about you in that or those new employee orientations and like the legacy that you're, possibly leaving behind?
Oh man, just being a positive leader that led from the heart, but also set high expectations that turn into being the standard. Like I think we all think about expectations, but man, it's all about standards.
Mm,
And the perception of expectations is one thing, but if you set the standard, that standard lives forever, right? So then, like you just said, that's a perfect example. Is 50 years from now, I'd love there to be a standard of, you know, Ricky, Tony, Marley, the family, the team behind the core of this company, led from the front, led on the field, led from their heart, but never forgot to hold you to a high standard.
hmm. I love that. Great answer. So speaking of builder, you've built quite a few things now. I mean, I kind of said it in your introduction, but you're not a one trick pony, Ricky. You've got a few things under your belt. But let's talk about route. Let's talk about it because that I feel like was even though it was in the same arena, maybe as it's still a product for cleaning businesses. But you have built cleaning cocktails, you built Rozalado Services, and that's obviously grown to be something massive. But Route is a technology, based business. That's a big pivot, right? From like cleaning and like systems and organizations for things like that. Cleaning cocktails, right, is just you being with your people, which are other,
Mm.
commercial cleaning companies. Tell me about the 3 a.m. wake up when you realize, oh wait, I have to build a technology company. Like, how did this idea pop in your head?
Oh,
And tell me about the journey and how it's been different than building the other things that you've built.
dude, there is, and I'll take some snippets from here too, because I'm working on is like a vlog for this story because there's
Yeah.
so many pieces to it. Like everything started in 2018, 19. And to think I'm still here trying to build, I'm still trying, right? Like I haven't hit stride yet, in my opinion. I hold myself again to a high standard, but I haven't hit the stride I'd like because, dude, this is hard building
Mhm.
software. So, here, service business, you built great culture, you hire a couple key people in the beginning and yourself. You can do the work yourself because it's all hands on. It's a service business. You provide a service, you send an invoice, you get paid. Software, you have an idea, you think you know what you're going to build. You need somebody to build it for most of the time because you're non-technical. In my case, I'm
Mhm.
non-technical.
Mhm.
You're banking on somebody else to build your vision and dream that they're going to get it right. And then you're banking on that somebody's going to pay a dollar for it. And then you have to reach them. You have to find like again, they have to find your product somehow, some way.
Yeah.
Oh, way different than the service business, man. Like you're talking about the terminology like CAC, LTV, conversion. I'm like, what? None of this existed for the
Yeah.
cleaning company. What is this shit? Development, sprints, code, product market fit. I'm like, I have an idea. It's gonna work. They're like, yeah, that doesn't mean anything. Like, are
Yeah.
people gonna buy it? Is it a pain point? Is it mission critical? So it has been the toughest thing, the biggest challenge to bring what's up here to life. I do have a couple tools that have made it to market, but haven't hit the way I'd want them to hit. So it's ongoing. But I think this moment in time, in the next couple of months, as we launch this new, it's called Marketplace, but we're working on a better and bigger brand that
Yeah.
really showcases what it does. But in its simplest form, it's a platform that's going to reinvent how subcontracting is done and that name itself. I'm not a fan of the name of subcontracting, so we're working on that. But man, years and years of ups and downs, Drew, and um, because it hurts because I don't know all the answers to the
Yeah.
questions with this one. This one is difficult. Has been unique because code development, technology, how to scale, how to build, how to recruit, how to pay. This is a whole new ball game than building a cleaning business. And I'm still going, man. I mean, it's been fun. It's been fun.
So you said this journey started in 2018, right?
Mhm.
The idea, I guess. You're in a unique
Yep.
spot as well because you started before this AI boom, and then the AI boom has happened mid process for your software creation. How has AI changed what you're building, the speed of what you're trying to build? Um,
Oh yeah.
is it making it easier? Because I've also talked to software business owners who are like, in some ways it makes it easier, and in other ways it's like throwing a wrench in that we got to figure out how to, involve that as well. How has AI
Yeah.
changed how this is working?
Man, I'll tell you, it has fast tracked development. It's allowed a non-technical person like me to get involved now, right? So I have a great, fantastic CTO. I finally found, or not found. He was my original co-founder and CTO. He's back now. But you talk about a guy who is super intelligent, understands our cleaning industry, but has adopted AI. So it is a tool. We use multiple tools to develop what the platform looks like today. And it's because of his leadership from technical. Like, again, he was a guy that was against AI in the beginning because he's like, oh, it's going to replace engineering. He's like, no, it's going to
Mm,
help engineering. You
yeah,
embrace it. And like, dude, there are so many tools that we prototyped 7 things in the last 4 months just to test case, test, boom. We like it. We're going to use it. Move that code over. So to us, it gets us 80% of the way there in 2 weeks versus 2 months.
yeah,
So time has really been in our favor now with AI tools for development. Now, they are not going to develop a software for you in itself. And anybody who's pitching you or telling you that like you can use one AI tool and it's going to change your business, false. That's just not possible. You have to use variation of different tools because each tool is going to be good and better at one thing, right? Perplexity, it's good for research. Gamma, it's good for slides and decks. GPT, it's good for getting your thought process out. Just so many different tools. So,
for sure.
I mean, I embrace it, and he does too. And that's a guy who's 20 years in technology
Yeah,
could say no, but he loves it. He's like, Rick, we could do with 3 or 4 people what I couldn't do with 10. That's the beauty of this.
it's amazing. I think that we keep seeing and learning. There's a phrase, you're not going to lose your job to AI, you're going to lose your job to somebody who speaks it better than you do.
Correct.
And I feel like that
Oh,
just
oh yeah.
continues to be
Especially in the cleaning
so
industry.
true.
Dude, in the cleaning
Oh, for
industry,
sure.
we're
Yeah.
afraid to embrace, but that's why it's like also if you don't understand it, dude, there are people now in companies that will help you
Yep.
embrace it. That's the
Yeah.
beauty of you don't have to be the expert of it. Just
Yeah.
work with somebody who does know it. That's it.
Yeah, I'm on a podcast later this week talking about how AI is changing search and SEO and all of that kind of stuff. And I'm just being very honest, like, hey, I'm not an expert on this yet because no one is. What do they say? Like, it takes like
Nobody is.
10,000
Yeah.
hours to become an expert on something. So the term is now AEO, which is answer engine optimization. This is the new thing killing SEO, everybody's saying.
Love it.
That
That's
acronym has not been around for 10,000 hours yet. It's like no one can be an expert in this. However, like I'm involved. I'm researching, I'm learning like what we do know so far, which SEO in general has been like this mystical thing in the world because Google has never straight just came out and said, do exactly this, because if they
no.
did, everybody would rank number one because then we would all do what Google tells us to do. And that's just not how it works. So I love that. I
Exactly.
love that pivot for you. I love that you have jumped into a new arena, um, even though it's still involving like the world you know very well. How would you say building, and I love in my notes, I have the word building a lot, which I love that you said that's kind of what you call yourselves
Yeah.
as a builder. But how would you say like building Resolado, building Route has changed the way you see yourself? Like maybe as a leader, a role model, a voice for others in the industry. What have you learned about yourself that maybe you didn't even realize before?
Man, one thing that comes to mind right off the bat is I've learned to trust others. Not I hate the word just delegate, but like really it is delegation too in its simplest form. But like really work with others, man, and be good at the things that you are good at. Let the others jump in and take over. Take a step back, right? Because that's the thing is in the service business, I wore every hat. I had an opinion on how things should be. All as we grow, even to this day, I went back last week to help the ops team, and it felt reinvigorating, dude. Like I was like, I'm back. It's been like 2 weeks since I've or 2 years since I really ingrained myself in operations for the cleaning business. But it felt good to know a couple things that I could help bring to the table, but
Mhm.
then learn that they've done things that I wasn't even thinking of. So it's like, man, you guys really took this, own it, you care about it. You'd be surprised if you allow people to jump in and put their 2 cents in and work and take over. They'll if they have the passion, dude, they're gonna run with it.
Yeah.
And I wasn't like that in the beginning. In the beginning, I held everything. So with route, because I didn't know a lot of the other things and I was really relying on other talented people to come in and help. I realized let them get out of their way, right? And then just be the vision, be the motivator, be the inspirational guy, be the positive person, and it's a good compliment to people that are really working hard. Because a lot of people that are with you, what do they say? A talent. I've learned how to recruit and now hire A plus talent because I just don't give away a job, right? Like people earn it. They come in. We talk for weeks, months at a time now. Or before, I was quick to hire. Now it's like a person's got to earn a spot on this team.
So I love that with Route, you were probably forced to trust people quicker than maybe you were in their
Ugh,
other businesses just because of your lack of knowledge in like technology world. Did that
ugh.
bleed into trusting people and delegating in your other worlds as well? Or like, do you have a moment you realize like, Ricky, you can't do this all by yourself. You need to trust people. You need to let them do what they do best and let like you do what you do best. Which cracks me up. I told a few people this story. We were recently at in Nashville together for the huge convention as well as cleaning cocktails, and we ran into each other the night, the pre-event party. We like ran into each other like this at the hotel, and I crack up because you were like, "Hey, do you know how to get to my event?" No one told me where it was, and I'm like, I was laughing so hard because I'm like, this is this guy's event, but like you have such a good team, like, they know what Ricky needs to know, and they know what Ricky
Yeah.
doesn't need to know, but you're like, "Man, I know there is an event. I think I know what time it is. I have no idea how to get there. Do you know how to get there?" I'm like, I'm just cracking up internally, but that shows, like, the story you're telling about that you've been able to delegate. You have these A players in your team now that they do what they do best, and you can just do what you do best, right? But was there a moment when you realized like I can't do this on my own. I need to trust people. I think with Route, it probably happened quicker. Um,
It happened a
Resalado,
lot. Yeah. But there's also a caveat to that, is it happened quicker, but then I made mistakes because I put too much into other people's hands. So it was a catch 22. Like to your point, yes, on the route side, I did not know the technical how to build. I didn't know engineering. I didn't really know marketing on that side of the world. So yeah, there was things where I was just like, you know what? Drew's a six-figure guy. He worked here, here, and here. I think he's going to be good to go. Let's do it. Let's bring him on. So I didn't know how to onboard appropriately. So
yep.
I trusted people quicker because I learned on Rozalado side. I got lucky that I already started embracing that prior to route. I was already starting to trust people on the Rozalado side. So I started to put people in different positions. So it helped me really fast track that with route. But then I made mistakes, man. I was overpaying.
Yeah.
I was in, thinking that I needed this, and this role when like the one person could have done all three. So I made mistakes trusting too fast, too quick.
I think
But
it's so true.
I don't take it back though. I don't take it
Yeah.
back. I
'Cause
learned
you
from
learn,
it.
right? You learn from it. And I think
Yeah.
I've done that same thing. And I think that is such a little snippet like people relate to so much. Delegation can be like a pendulum. Like sometimes we're swinging far to the left and we are holding on tight to things we should know we have no right to be holding on tight to. But then also it can swing far right where we're giving away things way too quickly. We're
Yeah,
delegating with things
yeah,
way too quickly. We're not doing our
yes.
research on who should we the best person to delegate to. And like everything else, there's a sweet spot in the middle. But unfortunately, the only way, like a pendulum, the only way to learn what that sweet spot is you got to swing from side to side. And it slows down.
And
It slows
and
down
that's
until you
okay.
hit that sweet spot.
Yeah,
That's
dude,
so
and
true.
that's
Yeah.
okay, like and I'll tell you, it's one I don't know how you I forget how to say or describe this feeling, but I have a lot of team members that have been with us for 8, 9 years, 7, 8, 9 years now. And I've been and it's a safe space with us when we're in like that one group that there's the people that have been with us for a while and we bust chops, we joke around, we say comments, and people will joke about me and say, "Man, Rick, you were so quick to hire that one person. What were you thinking?"
Mm.
Like, I know, I own it, I understand that, but hey, how about this hire? I
Yeah.
go back to the positive, right? I'm like, "How about that one though?" They're like, "Oh man, that was a good one." I'm like, "All right, let's not talk about the other one.
Yeah.
Let's just move on." But for them to know it's okay to speak like that, I think also makes me feel good, like that I built an environment that they can do that. Because my cousin is a big guy on Tony's like, dude, even though we're an emotional company and we have a lot of emotions, we cannot let feelings dictate, how we operate.
Yeah.
Because
Or
once you get feelings involved, dude, the cat's out of bed on that one, right? And like feelings, you say some things sometimes that really could be hurtful, and just it gets in the way of growth and it really debunks everything you worked your ass off for.
yeah, I get that. So I know, I mean, you are nowhere near done, right? You're still building route. I highly doubt route will be the last thing you build in your life, but you've built a lot of things. But has there been any moment in your career or your story as an entrepreneur yet where something clicked and you're like, I've made it? Like, I've worked, what we've done is good. We have done good work. We've made it. Do you remember that moment or have you not had it yet?
I've had like semi moments, right? Like I got big ambitions, but I'll tell you, I do know how to sit back and recognize and like pause, right? And like some of those moments are like the first time we got on Inc. 5000, knowing that my father was getting paid what he got paid. This is the highest paying job, right? Knowing that my mom and my entire family was in on this project with us. Big moment for me, knowing that they could trust.
Mm.
Um, like being on the cover for, Crane's 40 Under 40. That was a big one because I remember Crane's 40 Under 40 when I was like 30, 31, reading it like, man, I'm gonna be on there one day. Google investing into Route, Morgan Stanley, like the investors that came in for Route, something, right? That means
Yeah.
we're doing something. Rozalado getting recognized for a lot of things that they do. A big one that just happened though is probably one of the biggest now is I just got named the Latino Hispanic Business Person of the Year for United States Hispanic Chamber of Commerce.
It's
That's
huge.
it's the biggest Latino organization in the country. And out of 20,000 people, I was one, and it's cleaning. I'm like, dude, I'm representing the cleaning industry now. So that was cool because they've never had a cleaning business owner in that win that award. So I'm going to Atlanta in a couple weeks for a convention.
I was gonna
That
say
was a
that
big
had
one
to,
just because
that should have made it into your bio. I didn't even know about that yet.
no, well, I can't,
Yeah.
actually, when does this air?
Oh, we got a while. Well, this
Okay,
you're good.
because
Yeah.
the press release is next week. I'm not
Yeah,
actually,
we're good.
I
Yeah.
can't announce it. So, but it's the biggest prestigious award for a Latino business owner. And that was big for me just because I've gotten cleaning industry stuff. I've gotten cleaning industry technology. But like when you look at the masses of
Yeah.
business in the country to get that in that
Huge.
arena, that feels for my mom, I can see how proud she is for sure.
I love that. Very cool. And I know your dad is too. Yeah. Okay. I've ended every episode with this same question, and I think it's really fun. Um, I want to know if your younger self, you know, maybe that kid at 19 selling cologne to people at gas stations, or but if that person, that 19-year-old Ricky, could see now that you're running and you're building what you're building. I mean, that 19-year-old just learned that you won, the award that you were mentioning. what do you think they'd say? And also the other side of that, what do you want to say to them?
I would say they probably would think that's not possible, right? It's just too out there, right? Like again, I wasn't a big thinker at that age, 19, by no means. But then what I would say to them is, dude, again, it's just a game, right? Like think about a football field. It's 100 yards. Don't worry about getting to the goal line. Just, you know, get to the 5 yard line, get that first down, get to the 50 yard line, get to where you could kick a field goal,
Mhm.
kick a field goal, exit a business early, make some money, be happy. Like it literally, I've been looking at this as like how many yards I can move up to get to the end zone to do it all over again. Because I was so at a moment in time, I was so worried about what success looked like. I don't worry about too far in the future now. I just worry about some of these smaller wins and they stack up, man. Wins stack up.
I love
That's a
that.
big thing I'd tell them.
Love that. Very cool. I love the expression brick by brick. That's been something I try
Well,
to keep in
pleasure.
my head all the time. Like buildings are not built by just placing a building. Those buildings are built by brick. And those small wins add up to big wins. I tell our team all the time, like micro changes equal macro differences, right? Like,
Oh yeah,
you know,
that's a good one.
big believer in that. That's awesome. Hey man, I'm so proud of you. I am proud to say I know you. I'm proud to say like we're building the friendship that we're building over the last few years that I've got to know you. And thanks for being a part of this episode. I really appreciate it.
I appreciate you, man. Thank you. Keep doing what you're doing too. You're building too, man. Let's go. Let's be
Building
builders.
brick by brick. Thank you guys for watching this episode of the Five Door Media Podcast, Entrepreneur Storytelling. Ricky, you guaranteed you were able to add some value to the people watching and listening to this. And if people are interested more in your story and more in what you're building, how do they find you? How do they find out more?
Instagram and LinkedIn. On Instagram, it's at Ricky Regalado. LinkedIn, Ricardo Regalado, the name my mother gave me here. So,
Well, on
yeah.
LinkedIn, you got to be more professional. You got to do like the
Ah,
additional
got it.
and on
Come on.
LinkedIn, right?
Yeah,
It's
for sure.
serious business over there on LinkedIn. Yeah. Awesome, man. Hey, thanks for being here. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to share this with somebody in the cleaning industry that you know that should hear the stories and the gold little nuggets that were dropped today during today's conversation. We highly appreciate it. Stay tuned. We got more episodes of the Five Hour Media Podcast coming your way. Thanks for watching. We'll see you soon.